I've always heard a lot of good things about Animal Crossing, but I never owned a GameCube. When it was released on the DS, it received such positive reviews that I decided to give it a shot, despite the fact that it appears to have been created for small children suffering from Down syndrome and ADD. I was not prepared for the shit that goes on in this children's game. The result is this. I've documented the journey of Billy, a young, happy lad who believes he's going off to have fantastic adventures at summer camp. The following images have not been altered in any way other than to rescale them or to identify which dialogue option is being chosen. This is a literal and practical contextual account of what happens to poor bastards sent to Animal Crossing. This is the true story of Billy. I've always heard of this particular summer camp, but it was cheap and we were broke. This camp sent us their personal cabbie. I tossed my suitcase in the trunk and we take off before my mother even gets a chance to wave goodbye. Like the beginning of all shitty horror stories, it's pouring outside. There's something wrong with the cab driver, some kind of glandular problem. So tell me, Billy, why are y'all setting sail for camp? His speech is garbled, and I don't like the way he says camp. Like he's being sarcastic, despite the long drive. I never get more of his face than a passing glance. We seem to drive forever. Eventually I lose track of time and start to doze off to the memorizing sound of the rain beating against the window. I'm jolted awake when he tries to make small talk. He asks me how I'm going to pay off the fare in a light-hearted manner, as though we had already paid the camp admissions. This should have been my first sign something was terribly wrong. Do ye have enough to get settled? I'll just have to make ya work it off, ya scallywag. Yeah, ha 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 ha. Welcome to camp. We come to a rolling stop and I stumble out the door while he shouts at me with that sarcastic voice again, before peeling off with my suitcase still in the trunk. Son of the bitch. All I've got on me are the clothes on my back and a shitty haircut. My only opinion is to check in. The lady behind the counter is a fucking pelican who calls herself Pelly. Is this some kind of theme camp crap where the adults dress up like animals? Tom Nook has certainly been in a giving mood lately, I must say. She tells me the director, Tom Nook, has taken a special interest in setting up my cabin for me. I didn't know it at the time, but then that name would be burned into my memory forever. There's a hint of racial in her voice, as though she's made this speech before. Anyway, I am sure you are anxious to see your new home. What the fuck is going on? No toilet, no sink, not even a goddamn chair. I get a cardboard box and a candle with no matches and a boom box that only plays one song. And it fucking skips. I make for the administration's office. But before I even get out the door, Tom looks all over me like a cross between a used car salesman, a lawyer, and a German shepherd, despite being dressed like a raccoon in a goddamn maid's apron. So, what do you think? Looks quite cozy and comfortable, You'll get used to it soon enough. Not to worry, Why don't you come work part-time at my shop, Well then, I'll be waiting for you at the store. Come on by. Before I can get a word in edgewise, he tells me I bought this piece of crap shed. I owe him a ton of cash and I better pay him back. And seeing as how I don't have any money, he'd be happy to let me work in his little sweatshop, Wonderland. So he expects I'll be stopping by right away. And then he's gone. I stumble around for a while in a stupor, trying to get my bearings. This camp isn't huge, but there aren't any paths or trails. It's just a featherless pile of dirt with a few trees. I wander past a rundown clothing store before I notice a shanty town reject with a hand-scrawn sign that reads, Nook's Cranny. It occurs to me to just be honest with Nook. I didn't buy a cabin. I'm just an 8-year-old on vacation. Big mistake. Alright, then, first things first. You'll need to change these work clothes. If you must know, everyone who works here is required to wear a uniform. First off, I want you to plant some trees and flowers around my shop. And don't think that you can dilly-dally just because I'm not watching you. I'll be waiting for you, so don't take too long and let me know once you're done. Shit. That son of a bitch plays for keeps, and within seconds, I'm putting on the work uniform and lugging huge sacks of fertilizer out the door. It's after I've started to plant my third sapling that the panic sets in. There's seriously something wrong here. Why aren't there any other cabiners? Why did Nook say everyone who works here wears a uniform, even though there are clearly no other employees? Was he talking past tense? If I work for Tom now, why haven't I signed any paperwork? And why is there only one old used cabin in this entire walked-in campground that isn't the home of a counselor dressed like some kind of fucked up furry? My stomach's in knots as I bolt across the empty lot to where the large Ford-Field gatehouse sits looming, carved out of a face of solid rock. 2 man-sized dog soldiers stare me down, and I curse under my breath for not being able to find a single normal person, but at this point I'm nearing hysteria. I beg one to open the gates, but he stares blankly through my face, and he sends a reply down my spine that's punctuated by my own name. Oh, Isn't there some other business that you need to take care of, Billy? Like your part-time job, for example? How the hell does this asshole even know my name unless... Holy fuck. It suddenly penetrates my 8-year-old brain like a brick through a convenience store window. They're all in on it. The mysterious cabbie that took off with all my shit, being forced to wear work clothes, the impossible sudden debt, the guardian gates, it's all one big conspiracy. I'm trapped here, and I'm all alone.